Hi, and welcome to 108 Healing Senses. My name is Jennifer Taylor, and today I have the most fantastic guest called Rae Calnan. We are going to be discussing and bringing together solutions and insights and wisdoms to help anyone who's seeking it right now. So I will hand over to the beautiful Rae and let her introduce herself, and let's flow with the discussion and see what comes today.
Absolutely wonderful. Thank you so much for having me on the show. So my name's Rae, and the brief summary of my history, because it could go on forever, we could go off on all these different tangents, is that I was born into a spiritual family. So my mum did palmistry and psychometry, and my aunt did tarot. And as a child, my dad was quite happy taking my mum and obviously me and my sister, because she couldn't even leave us at home as children, to spiritualist churches. So I spent most of my childhood in that environment. And, I've dabbled with runes and tarot myself and, various spiritual energies, picking up on them, etc. Then through teenage years, although that was still there and everyone at school knew what I did, because I've never hidden in my whole life my spiritual side or my pagan side, anything like that. It's every job I've had, even at school, I've always owned it. And in fact, even girls in senior school would give me bits of their hair to take home to my mum to do psychometry on.
Wow.
But it was the usual things, boyfriends and things like that. But it's interesting that they kind of like that I was open about it, and we'll come back to this later when we can actually talk about how you can get an idea of what your purpose is in this lifetime. And so at school, my classmates decided to do the Ouija board one day. Should do. And they asked if I wanted to take part, and I said no, I'm not interested, because I wasn't interested, or I'm not interested in the Ouija boards. And they said, "Oh well, can you come and just come in and make sure we're safe whilst we do it?" And I was like, "Okay," so I did. So they were aware of that. Then fast forward, I got in, started working, etc. Then I had a card reading, and the card reader said he saw me going on a life-changing trip, possibly Sri Lanka. So this was kind of like at the beginning of the internet and everything. So we're talking a long time ago. And obviously Sri Lanka's spiritual place that you go to. So I went onto the Lonely Planet website, and there was an article on Peru that was on their front page. So I read the article, thought no more of it, didn't get on Sri Lanka. Then a couple of days later, I turned on the TV, and there was a documentary on Peruvian bears by Stephen Fry. And obviously, as my background, I'm sort of like, ooh, bit of a coincidence, Peruvian bears. You might need to look into this. So I got a lot of brochures about traveling around Peru, because I was going to go by myself. And it's like, really can't afford any of this. It was really quite expensive. So I thought no more of it. Then some months later, I had to change mortgages over, and the mortgage companies had a mix up. So they had to give me some compensation, which was the exact amount of one of these trips. So I booked it. Then just before I was due to go, the girl I was working with, her grandfather had passed away, and she was cleaning out his attic, and she came across an old Peruvian map and an old Lonely Planet Peruvian handbook. And it was the most amazing, life-changing trip. I met up with 11 other people, and we were from different ages, from different parts of the world. But we just all gelled. It was like we had all known each other in previous lifetimes. And there were lots of amazing things that happened during that trip. But the main one was, after doing the 4-day Inca trail up to Machu Picchu, which was amazing in itself. I was actually standing on one of the platforms looking down, and it was only for a few seconds. I actually went back in time, and I was actually addressing Incan people below me. I was some kind of priest. Only lasted a few seconds, but it was like, oh my God, wow. anyway, I came back to the UK and it was October. And you know, it's like in the UK, 3 p.m., it's dark, it was stormy, it was miserable, it was yuck. And I was sitting and I looked out of the window. I was sitting in the office, looked out of the window and thought, I would much rather be out there than sitting in front of a computer just doing data inputting.
Mm.
And that's kind of like when I made the decision that 9 to 5 job wasn't really for me. You know, I needed to get out of that. I mean, at that time, I was already aware of angels around me, although obviously at that time, even Doreen Virtue and Diana Cooper weren't really known for angel stuff, and we had nothing in the UK. So if I wanted angels, I had to wait till Christmas and buy from Christmas catalogues. Right. Whereas now you can just walk down the high street and you've got you can get angels. And obviously, as all these things do, synchronicities, when you're aware of them, led me on to Angelic Reiki and training Angelic Reiki, moving from tarot cards onto oracle cards, oracle angel cards, guided meditations, past life regression, future life progression, you know, and everything else that I do now, running workshops, training, teaching, running retreats down in Glastonbury. It's just all synchronized, and just from that moment has just all sort of like melded together to get me to where I am now, where, you know, where I do practice, I teach, and I do podcasts myself. So it's all just amalgamated, and there's still so much more that comes in, and I learn each day of being in the spiritual space.
Yeah, that's wonderful. And
that's the short version.
I love it. Well, I mean, we can do a lot in our lives, and it can be quite challenging to, well, what things do I focus on, you know? And actually, this also brings up another thing about the stories that we have. What are you constantly referring to or referencing in your past? Is it positive or is it negative? And if it's negative, are you still in a negative space now? And if that is the case, then you need to switch your vision about, and I'm now talking to the audience, is that ability to be aware of yourself. And Rae, you've had this on a spiritual journey. You learn so much about yourself, and there's real deep honesty, even into the parts of yourself that you may have shied away from. Like, with every single person, every single soul has shadow and light, and a massive reason why we are here on this planet is to have the experience of life and to integrate shadow and light in love. You can do that with compassion.
Yeah, exactly. You can do. And we were just talking before the show started. You know, I do amateur dramatics. I've been doing it for, well, I wanted to be an actress when I was a child. I think most people in the spiritual world at some point were on stage and wanted to be in the in that profession. But I've been with my with St Martin's Players for about 26, 27 years now. But we've just literally finished Panto, and we did The Sleeping Beauty, and I was playing Carabosse, the evil fairy, because obviously Disney owned the rights to Maleficent, so you can't use that in Panto. So she's Carabosse. But what was really interesting for me was, obviously you get booed on stage because that's all part of the fun, and you know, and the scaring people, and then becoming the good fairy at the end, because you've got to become a good fairy after you've had a fight with the prince. My sword bigger than your sword. Yeah. But what was really interesting was when we go down into the audience after the show, and obviously children, when they see you in characters on stage, they think you are that character, you know, and they identify with you as that character, whether you're the fairy godmother, you're the evil witch, fairy, you're the principal boy, the princess, whatever. They understand you on that level. And what was interesting is that a lot of the young people in the audience, a lot of the children in the audience, were actually rooting for my character and actually wanted their pictures taken with me. you know, and this is the, you know, this is the, you know, the evil fairy. And it's kind of like, and I think I was saying Angelina Jolie has kind of like changed how people view Maleficent, in that the dark side of her, there were reasons why that dark side was there, and they had more compassion and understanding for her. Not so much forgiving what she's, you know, the horrible things she's done, but they can understand where she comes from. So it is about embracing both the dark and the light in everything, and understanding that just your past can shape your future, can shape you in the present, but it's how you deal with it and how you allow it to work through you, to work with you, and what aspects you can change to change that perception from people, if that makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, I'm sure everyone could resonate with something they've done in their past that they feel sorrow or remorse or regret for. And, you know, if you hold on to those feelings and emotions without being able to process them and even have compassion for yourself in that moment, you know, even if you're able to acknowledge that you did the best that you could in that moment, that is a level of compassion and love that we can show to ourselves and any darkness that may be with us. And that is how we integrate. You know, love is the most powerful and most beautiful and stunning and graceful and energy of strength that you can cultivate within. And it does start with love and compassion, whatever you do. And acknowledging the best parts about ourselves and the worst parts about ourselves, and also seeing that every facet of ourselves is valid, absolutely valid, and it's there for a reason, to protect us or to whatever the lesson or experience may be.
Yeah, exactly. And it's when you understand those reasons that things make much more sense about why you have been the way you are, why someone has been the way they are, you know, which is why, you know, both of us love working with past life regression. Yes. Because even if it's not things that you acknowledge in this lifetime, it could be stuff from previous lifetimes that you've not understood, you've not resolved, you've not integrated, you've not had compassion for. So it's affecting you in your current life. So going back to those times, seeing, experiencing, learning from it, releasing it, and having that unconditional love and that compassion for it can really change things in your current life. You have to be willing to acknowledge that there are issues, there are things from the past that may be affecting you in your current time.
Yeah, absolutely. And you can go as like doing it by yourself and just being really aware of the things that you're doing and the words that you're saying and the thoughts that you're having and the actions that you're taking or not taking. That could also be self-sabotage.
Yeah.
So you can do it by yourself and consistently do that every single day. Like, you become very aware of yourself, but you do it with compassion. So you don't get hyperfixated on like chastising yourself. It's not about that either. It's just being really honest with yourself. And then there's the opportunities of working with people like me or Rae that are practitioners that will take you in a safe container wherever you need to go in your timeline to heal and to integrate and to really come back to your complete self and live the life that you're meant to in your highest, fullest potential. I think that's the best gift anyone could ever experience. I've had it myself and it has been absolutely life-changing. And that's why I do what I do.
Yeah, exactly. It is, you know, and, you know, you said about, you know, coming to yourself or me for that safe container. So I'll now circle back to that thing at school. You know, I didn't know it at the time, but obviously you know, when my classmates said, "Can you come and keep us safe?" They're already recognizing that was part of my job, to hold a safe space for people. to be that container so that people did feel safe in doing what they were doing to learn and heal from themselves, which is a great way of knowing what your purpose in this lifetime is. So if you're sort of like, well, I'm not sure what I'm supposed to be doing, how I'm supposed to do it, look back at your childhood. There are so many clues. Whatever childhood you had, there are so many clues. So if we look back at my childhood, I loved kaleidoscopes. I still love kaleidoscopes. I love all the patterns. Sacred geometry. Yeah. I work with Angelic Reiki, sacred geometry. I loved doing cloud watching and looking at the sky and the stars and the moon. In fact, even persuaded my parents to get me a telescope as a kid. Still wish I had it, but especially with the price of nowadays. And what do I do now? I work with galactic energy. I was an avid reader. I was much more into reading and creating stories. Now I guide people to help them tell their story. I held the space for people back then. That's what I do now. So if you look back at the little things that you might think were insignificant, they can be great indicators of what you could be doing in this lifetime, what your purpose is.
Yeah, absolutely. Signposts. And that's for the good and also the bad as well. So you can find those subconscious programs that you weren't aware of because they'll slip out. They'll slip out in conversation. When you kind of think, oh, did I just say that? That's one of those subconscious. Or you could say it's like a Freudian slip. Sometimes, well, maybe not that one, but I don't know, it might be. Who knows? There's always information that's coming to the surface at all times, isn't it? And if you start to become more aware of everything that you're doing or the things that you're drawn to, maybe you love crystals, for instance, or it could be anything. I think tarot cards and oracle cards are a really beautiful place to start on your journey as well, when you want to connect to symbols and energies that you're connecting to the etherical ether, but you're using another tool as an interface to decipher what this energy is around you and, in whatever the situations are.
Yeah, because everything is energy. Some people see energy, some people feel it, some people just know it. Some people completely ignore it. Well, on the surface they ignore it, but subconsciously they recognize it. So even the most skeptical person in the world knows that feeling of being in the room and someone walks in and the atmosphere changes because of the energy that person coming in is bringing in with them. You're on a bus, say, and somebody walks on who's sort of like smiling to themselves, maybe they're listening to something funny. And the atmosphere changes because people they kind of like pick up on that energy. So even if you're not consciously aware of it, you're always subconsciously picking up on the energy that's going on around you. And that can affect your mood. So sometimes if you're feeling depressed or down, ask, is it me? Or have I been around people that have got that energy? Did I used to, and this is a good tip for people, if you do find yourself susceptible to other people's energy, is before you leave your house every day, and this was the routine. So as soon as my hand went on the door handle, I see, feel, imagine, or know 100% pure crystal shell around me that transmutes all negativity into positivity. So any negativity that comes towards you goes back as positivity, but positive energy will come through. And I remember once not doing it. And I left the house feeling all bright and breezy, and then as I'm getting closer into town, I'm suddenly starting these kind of like, I don't know, what's wrong with me? And literally coming towards me was the mother and child, and the mother was berating the child something rotten. And it's like, I'm picking up on that. It's not me. I'm picking up on their energy. quickly put the shield round.
Yeah.
So yeah, even if we're not aware of it, we're always picking up, and it doesn't need to be people we know. It could be complete strangers in the street.
Yeah, agreed. That's another reason why if people go to the shops and they feel tired afterwards, it's not just that you've been shopping and walking and buying stuff. It's so many energies around you. And if people aren't aware that they have an energy field, they're not aware that they can, their emotions can affect their environment. So if you have lots of those, of course, it can be quite chaotic and frantic and exhausting and draining. And that's why sensitive people often maybe will avoid social situations as well, as a way of just keeping their energy to not get drained. But also part of our life and our journey is to spread light wherever we go. And sometimes it's not always applicable to be able to completely avoid crowds. Like it's a good thing to, experience community and good friends and things like that. But you can set your energy in the right way in the mornings. I love that mantra, that intention that you're setting as you're beginning your day, especially as you're going outside. I've actually got a free spiritual and energy protection and PDF on my website on the homepage, because it's such an important part of, especially if you're becoming more awake to things and you want to be able to not be affected by the world negatively and be sovereign to yourself and your energies. It's very important to have the right skills and knowledge and tools to apply to yourself. So anyone that does like the sounds of that, please use, and whatever you resonate with will find you, and you set your intentions. And
I mean, there are so many things out there, that one thing will resonate with you more than something else. Some people love using Archangel Michael's blue cloak of protection. The only thing that I would say, and now, so if we're going back years now, and this was before I was much more aware as I am now. Was I worked in an environment which was very toxic. I mean, the owners of the company took turns on picking on different people within the office, and so the energy in there was really awful. So I used to surround myself in the mirror to reflect the energy back. Of course, what I didn't realize at the time was, by using a mirror, you're not transmuting that energy, you're sending that energy back to them.
Yeah.
So be aware of, if you are setting protection around yourself, that it either negates or transmutes and sends back to that person as positive energy. Not just sending that energy straight back to them, because that's not really fair on them, because they might be consciously doing it, but then they might also be unconsciously doing it. So if you're sending that horrible energy back to them, you're just making them worse. But if you can transmute it to, so that it comes to you and it just transmutes into nothing, or it goes back to them as positive energy, and you're doing them a favor.
Yeah. This is energy work. Like every day, you can send. Actually, I had a new phrase come to me this morning, and it was it's that I put you in God's hands and God's heart. If you don't like God, replace with source, love. But there is a lot to be said with, do what you can and you bring in the highest and purest form of love. There's a mantra statement that, without fail, it will always raise me up. It will relax me. It will relax my heart, and it will protect me. And whether or not it resonates, but it's like a pocket mantra, like yours as well. And it's source love, source light, Christ love, Christ light. Say that a minimum 3 times, but keep saying it. And it's a really great way if you do feel like, oh, it's just too much, and I need relief. And I just think, there's higher forces of love and energy and power. Ask for their support, ask for their protection, at least to be with you and provide that space that you need to navigate. And without fail, it's a beautiful statement, and it's very pure and loving, and you can use it for anything and everything, because what you're doing, you're handing it over to love, you're handing it over to source. So I have no intention other than giving it to God, to love, to source, to do what is in the highest for all concerned.
Yeah, exactly. And we've got so many helpers and guides out there. Obviously I work with angels, and I talk to my angels every day. And I say good morning, good evening, thank them for the day, ask for thank them for parking spaces, for getting me safely from one place to another.
Yeah.
And it is, and if there are times where things are too much, then it is, hi angels, I need you, come and hold me in your wings, in your arms. How can I navigate this situation? And you might not get an answer there and then, but you automatically feel that unconditional love coming in, especially if you've been connecting on a regular basis, because angels and guides are always around with us. They're always wanting to talk to us, to guide us, but we have to be aware, and we have to make the conscious connection of saying, yes, I want your help, I need your guidance. We have complete control over who we interact with, who we use as our protectors, our guides, our confidants. So as soon as we choose to connect with the angels and the guides of 100% pure light and love, then we start building that connection with them, then they're always there. You are never ever alone. When you've got those around you. I've got on my website, I've got you can connect with your guides and angels PDF on there that gives you basic steps, and gives you sort of like 5 different ways of actually connecting and strengthening that connection with the angels, with your spirits, with your guides, because that they are always there for you. So even if there's not a human around you at that particular moment in time, then they are there. So it's cultivating a relationship with angels, guides, the divine, God, source, whatever you want to call it. And remember that we are part of that anyway. We are, we are source, God, creator, however you want to call it. The angels are source, God, creator. They are us. We are them.
Yes.
You're you and I'm me, but we're from the same, we are the same. We just vibrate on slightly different dimensions.
Yeah.
Which is absolute. So really, we are never alone, because we are connected to every single living thing that there is out there.
Interestingly, the times that I have felt most alone and had the most time to spend with myself is actually where I did cultivate my relationship with the unseen, with pure, true source love, source light, Christ love, Christ light, and building that relationship, and that does come through your own heart. So you can't use someone else to get you there. It doesn't work like that.
No.
Before, it used to be a guru is on the pedestal, or they're the one that you have to listen to. No, that's not the case. Not at all. If you consider, especially where we're moving into now, things are revealing, and they're going to get more weird this year.
Oh yes, I'm so looking forward to it. It's going to be amazing. When I say amazing, it's exciting with all the changes and everything that's coming into the fore at the moment.
Yeah, so it's important that we flow in the direction that is in the highest, and just recognize that you don't need anyone outside of you to help yourself. even for this platform, for instance, this podcast is a signpost that you get nuggets, you get wisdoms, you get insights. You may be assigned to work with myself or anyone that I speak to on here. And if you're listening to this, you may feel that, actually, where I am right now on my soul's journey, I could really do with working with Rae. I want to connect with my angels or whatever, that whatever it may look like or feel like, people will have the pull to actually, that's the next step on my journey to shift, to elevate my energy, my frequency, my vibration to something new, because you've completed that level, that chapter of your life in that certain frequency. And now there's an opportunity to change position and move it. So yeah, but you don't ever feel like you need to be following a guru and put anyone on a pedestal. It doesn't work like that. Love works through your heart. Source works through your heart. So cultivate love, keep your heart open. Even if it feels painful and you've been hurt, come back to source, come back to love through your heart, and just that alone will help you heal.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, because we are just guides to help you on the next part of your journey. And that's why it's so beautiful that so many people are doing this thing, because different people resonate with different people. So if you were to go back to Diana Cooper and Doreen Virtue, there were people that loved Doreen Virtue but weren't keen on Diana Cooper, and people that weren't keen on Diana Cooper, who loved Diana Cooper, weren't keen on Doreen Virtue. But basically, they were given the same message, just in different ways, that you resonated with.
Yeah.
So the more people out there that step onto their spiritual path and start doing this work, the more that there are opportunities for other people to come and go, oh, that person can guide me on this journey. They've got the next bit of information that I need, that I can use myself personally, because it is remembering that we're autonomous beings. I am. We have to remember that. And I think society for so long has sort of like, you've had to rely on other people, on the government, on health, on everyone to do things for you, rather than remembering you are that sovereign being. So that 2 years that we had really was a wake up, where people kind of like realize, oh, I'm being told to do this, but I can actually do this. So it helped people remember that they were autonomous beings.
Yeah.
And that's more and more coming to light now, that we are in complete control of our destiny. Yes. We are in complete control of our thoughts, our words, our actions. Nobody else. It's just us. And there are people out there that can help guide us and give us the information to help us make those decisions on our own. Yeah. But yeah, no more putting people on pedestals.
No. And also, and I would also like to say, because there's a level of discernment that every single one of us goes through and has to have. And there are plenty of good souls doing good work, but everyone has their own perspective. They've already got a percentage of their perception of reality is based on the experiences that they've had, good or bad. And if they've got unhealed trauma, that can also distort and project out. So especially in the spiritual world, there is a lot of unhealed trauma, and I see it. And I would also say a key point is when they're not acknowledging any darkness at all. Those that don't acknowledge the other, because good and bad from a higher level doesn't really matter. It's just shades of color and light and frequency. It's just an experience. But those that don't discuss protection, don't discuss managing your energy or any kinds of things like that, it's really important for people to just listen and discern. Don't just take things on face value. How does it feel in your body? Does it fill you with fear? If it fills you with fear, then that's a key red warning flag, okay? There should always be solutions. even if you have shadow, there is always an opportunity to transmute it into light. So there's nothing that needs to stay in the energy of one thing. It can always, always, always be changed. And I want people to know that you never need to feel stuck. The only way you're going to stay stuck is by staying stuck. But everyone can change. Everyone can change. But you have to make a choice.
Exactly. You do have that. You do have that choice. You know, and if you, you know, and again, if someone fills you with fear, but also if someone says they can do it for you.
Yes.
No. You know, a good spiritual guide, leader, practitioner, whatever you want, will never do it for you. They do it with you so that you can do it yourself.
Yes. Yeah. Well said. Well said. Yeah, because we are guides. We're not gurus.
No. Oh, I'd hate to be a guru. You know, can you imagine people?
So draining.
Exactly.
It's you know what? It's the most exciting and thrilling and adventurous journey for self-healing when you're going through it yourself and you're taking full self-responsibility and making, you know, moving through the waves in the ocean until you're finding like, oh, it's starting to get more peaceful again because you've been able to get through that tumultuous stuff with the help of people if you need. Sometimes you might need support along your way.
Yeah. You might do, you know, and it could be in a past life, you know, you were a goddess in a temple who was worshipped. I think there might have been a couple of past lives, you know. So I've been through there, you know, done that. In fact, this actually reminds me of something with regards to past lives, because obviously, I mean, a lot of the younger people coming in now have not had human past lives. But older people like myself, we've kind of like, because we sort of like, you know, have been the leaders in this, you know, the people coming forward to make it more acceptable to those coming in that haven't. And so obviously I have worked a lot on past life. I mean, I've got 300 plus past lives, you know. I can't kind of worked on all of them, but, you know, and every now and again they'll come up. And a few years ago, I actually was watching, as at the Albert Hall, and I was watching Jesus Christ Superstar. You know, and I've watched the film several times, but whilst we were there, and the point and the part where Jesus suddenly gets inundated with everybody wanting a piece of him to help him, and that triggered something of a past life of mine where I had reached that guru type status, and people wanted a part of me, and that shut me down in this current life on the certain level, because I didn't want to go through that experience again because it was absolutely awful. But by recognizing that and releasing it whilst the show was going on, you know, kind of like opened up some new channels for me. So, you know, it could be anything that will trigger and bring something to you, and then you kind of like go, oh, why was that? Oh, now I see. Now I can move forward through that. You know, because it's a continuous journey of learning. You know, that's why we came here to experience this humanity, to you know, to learn, to experience, to be innovators, to create, to help other people raise their vibration to the point where we don't need a human body in the future.
Yeah. And that is to come, ... And it's not that many hundreds of years away, is it?
No, see, and that's the beauty of us doing future life progression as well, because not only have we been into the future ourselves, but we've taken other people into the future, you know, and everyone has said what an amazing, you know, place it is.
Yeah, it's profound.
Yeah, so don't have any fears or worries about, with everything that's going on in the world at the moment, with conflict, of division, you know, whatever's going on. Just stay in your true self, with joy in your own bubble if you need to. You know, turn off all that stuff if it triggers you. And just know that things are going to be better. The more you do joyful things yourself, the better, you know, the better life is. And you add to that collective energy of building up to that positive, loving, joyful, understanding, community-based energy that is coming in, whether we like it or not. It's coming in.
Yeah, no, absolutely, and well said on that. And it is. And how do you do that? By switching off from other people's drama, other people's bull.
Yeah.
If it's not yours, you know, not my monkey, not my circus. If it's affecting you and your well-being, it's important to have healthy boundaries, create distance from the things that are causing you fear and harm or injury or loss, like whatever it is. Like, concentrate on the things that you actually want to create more of in life. More love, more joy, more friendship, more creation. I love that innovation. Yeah, absolutely. But I see the happiest people when they're creating something and they're fixing a problem. I know that's at least for what I have for myself. I love it. Nothing brings me more joy than seeing solutions and feeling peace or neutrality. Like, that's a really great place to be. Always find a place of neutrality. You don't always need to be like ecstatic and laughing all the time, but if you can find a level of peace within the madness, if there is any madness around you, or just switch off from it.
Exactly. A good point there. Yeah, just finding that peace. You know, and I always say to people, you know, that go, yeah, but I don't have time to have, you know, like meditation. I don't have the time to do that, to be in that quiet space. And it's like, do you clean your teeth? Do you go to the bathroom? I mean, obviously, if you've got kids and they want to come in, or pets that want to come in and disturb you, that might be a bit more difficult, you know. But if you're working or something, you can quite easily go into the toilet cubicle and just breathe.
Yeah.
And just come back to that space of peace and neutrality.
You just reminded me of something I thought of this morning, is those moments when it's quiet, nothing's coming in and nothing's outgoing from you. You know, you're not writing or you're not listening to a podcast. You're just quiet in the moment. Water is a very purifying space to be in as an element. It's very good for getting heightened intuitive signals and messages. Like washing up, yeah, if you're like, washing up's great. I now actively enjoy washing up because it gives me my time to just like wash away the day, wash away the thoughts, kind of just cleans the slate. And then if I ask any questions, or things will come to me, insights will come to me. And that's a really gentle, easy way of integrating in your day, in your busy day, just quiet time.
Yeah.
And see what comes.
Yeah. Same as the shower. Exactly the same.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say so much a bath, because people can obviously come in and disturb your baths. But, you know, bath could, you know, if your family know that that's your time in the bathroom, they don't disturb you. Yeah. That's the ideal time to do it.
Yeah. And that's a nice way of practicing, like, loving healthy boundaries. I've got this, you know, X amount of time I'm going to have my bath. I don't want to be disturbed. This is just my time, my peace, my space. That's wonderful. Like, that's a really great way of crafting. And it does get easier as you make the time and you make the space to just be in quiet. You'll naturally find over time you'll become more consistent with it. As long as if you still have that intention to have quiet time, to receive insight or intuition, it will come to you more. And you'll find times within your day that, like, oh, I can just sit and just breathe and shut my eyes and relax and just see what comes, or just ask for assistance or guidance for whatever's happening in that space and moment right now, or even just breathing and balancing and harmonizing my heart or emotions. It's powerful.
Yeah, it's very powerful.
Simple but extremely effective.
Yes, and we like simple. Simple's good. We don't.
Yeah.
We always seem to tend to make things more complicated than they actually are. If we can keep things as simple as possible, so much happier.
Yeah. And it doesn't need to be complicated. I think we've been sold this complicated myth that it will only work if it's in
Exactly.
unless you need like a PhD in rocket science or something. But it doesn't need to be like that at all. Just get real back to basics.
Exactly. It's like some people think making bread is hard. Bread is one of the easiest things to make. Anyone can make bread because it's just as long as you keep it simple with the simple ingredients.
Yeah.
But people think it has to be more complicated than it is, but it's really straightforward. You just put the ingredients, mix them.
I wonder if it's a time thing because people aren't used to waiting. If everyone is like, and it's easy to do, you got getting notifications, you're sending emails, everything's really instant messaging, instant calls. You could be anywhere in the world. You don't need to be in the same face to face with someone. So there's this culture of everything's instantaneous. So then when you're giving these simple solutions, but you need to be consistent with it over time. I feel like maybe that's where people feel the complexity may be, but it's not. It's just, it's like devoting yourself to yourself. If you want to have a better life, then you have to make effort every single day, however that looks. Might be small or large. But if you've always got that in mind of, well, how can I be the best version of myself today, things will always unravel.
Yeah.
Going for a walk as well after lunch. So that's nice quiet time.
It is, yes. I like going for walks when I can. As much as I do like horrible weather, sometimes it's just too horrible to go out.
Absolutely. I love being cozy.
I think as I've got older, I like being a little bit more cozy. I still love being out in storms and rain and everything, but it's like, snuggle.
Cup of tea.
I'm going to snuggle up with a hot chocolate and just sit in some quiet just put on some music and just look out into my garden. And
actually, it just popped in was, giving yourself permission to just sit. Give yourself permission to read, to be by the fire, to not have to always push yourself as well. If you're too much of the workaholic and you're trying to validate your existence through the external output of you and your resources or your whatever it is, and often those beautiful souls, they've got the taking action and consistency. They got it down, but then they haven't got the other part, which is the love and the compassion and that being able to resolve and transmute any traumas that are still ligging about and affecting them in their relationships and maybe even their businesses to a degree too. So everything's connected. Everything is connected. And doing past life and future life will certainly affect you in a positive way to get you on the right track for you to create a business or start a new hobby or an interest that maybe turns into something else. It may even turn into a legacy project that you give to your children after you've passed that helps others. So you never know where things may take you, and it might just start with an interest or a passion or a hobby. And those are the best ones when you're like, well, I love doing this thing. And then over time, you stay consistent and you keep showing up for yourself, and opportunities will come where you can level up. But that does mean taking a leap of faith in yourself and going for it anyway, even though you have never traversed these waters before. But it's if you want to get to the next level, sometimes we need to make a jump and a leap to the next phase.
And when you do, and things like that come up, think back to children. Children are always willing to make that leap. Curiosity. Two of my favorite words in the world are curiosity and magic. curious. Oh, well, if I go and do this, what is the magic that could possibly happen with this? And that's how children see the world. Oh, what are the possibilities? What's the magic if I go and do this? So curiosity and magic are quite important to remember as well. And that, and how children don't have that fear about taking those steps, because it is curious, as long as it's not going to kill you, then why not be curious?
Yeah.
See where it takes you.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's that the fear doesn't cross your mind or your heart. You just have that, oh, I like that thing, I'm going to go do that thing. And then there's no other thoughts attached to it. And I think that's where a lot of people may get stuck. And I know I've been there myself. You start to overthink things. And then what happens? It doesn't get done. Or you fill your time with something else instead of the thing that you should be working on to help you get to your next level. And we do, that's actually something we do in the future life progression sessions, is what should I be doing to help me achieve where I'm going, my best possible future. And then you get that insight and hindsight from yourself in your future self.
Yeah.
As it's incredible. And it really shifts quickly. But it does come down to being consistent, keep showing up for yourself, and keep taking action and listening and loving.
No, absolutely, it is. You can see your best possible future and the steps to take to go, but unless you take action, it ain't. It's like tarot cards. They might predict a possible future, but if you don't take those actions, our timelines are never set. Yes, that we sort of have a version of where we are going and what we're supposed to be doing. But at any time, we can change that timeline to something completely different. It means eventually we'd have to come back onto that at some point, but the future is not set in stone. We have as individuals, we have our own power to change our future. It's just what you do with it and how you do it.
Absolutely. Yeah. Everyone really does have the power within them to have their best possible life and lifetimes as well. Yeah. Deal with the things that are hurting you until you find peace. Doesn't take as long as you need, but if you actively work on keep pouring love, passion, compassion, passion of love, and just give yourself space. Give yourself space and permission. It will assist you in your journey.
Yeah, it totally will.
Yeah, that's lovely. So, Rae, is there anything else you'd like to float today? Or
no, I think we've covered quite a lot. Bearing in mind we didn't actually have a particular idea of subject in mind when we thought about this conversation. So no, I think it's gone well. The only thing I will say to people is just remember, you are never ever alone. There is always support out there for you, whether that's through angels, spirits, guides, galactic beings, people like us or anyone else. There's always support and help for you. You are never, ever, ever alone.
Well said. Love that. Thank you. And how can people contact you, Rae?
Easiest way to find me or to contact me is to find me on my website, which is www.radiantangelenergy.co.uk. YouTube, Radiant Angel Energy, Facebook, Radiant Angel Energy, Instagram, Radiant_Angel_Energy. So anywhere, just type in Radiant Angel Energy and you'll find me. You can even type in my name. There is only one person with my name in the world. But so the name's unique as well. So there's no way you wouldn't be able to find me anywhere at all. And obviously, you know, I do have my own podcast, Angels and Destiny, of which you're going to be my guest coming up. So that's going to be fun. So I'm looking forward to having that conversation with you. So and you know, if you I do offer, as I said earlier, a free gift where you can either connect with your angels and guides, 5 steps PDF, or a free future life progression recording to go and experience the future for yourself and see how wonderful it absolutely is.
Love that. Thank you so much, Rae. It's been an absolute pleasure speaking with you.
And you.
I look forward to coming on your lovely podcast very soon. And yeah, I'm looking forward to speaking with you soon.
Yeah, me too. Thank you for having me on your show.
My pleasure. And thank you for the audience for watching today as well.
Definitely.
All right. Bye for now.
Bye.